reach.
Oh. Yeah.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gary Harekesi, Chair of the Murray City Council. It is September 12th, 2023. Here for the Committee of the Whole meeting at Murray City Hall. Have all council members present, so welcome to all of you. Everyone who made it to primaries. Next one, into the general election. So, we will start with approval of the minutes for a special joint meeting that we had with Millcreek August 21st, 2023, and then Committee of the Whole on August 22nd, 2023. Are there any changes or updates to the minutes?
None that I saw.
Right, with that, I would a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the minutes
Wait a second.
of the special joint meeting of August 21st, 2023.
Then Committee of the Whole.
The Committee of the Whole, yes.
And Rose Bobby, you second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll move on to our discussion items. First, we have Parks and Recreation Department report from Mr. Kim Sorensen.
Hello, Council, Mayor. So what I thought today we would talk about is the projects that we have in Parks and Recreation. As you know, we have a number of projects that are ongoing and upcoming. So the first slide is our playground that was put in at Murray Park. And if you've not heard about this playground, I would be shocked because
Usually sits at.
the citizens and it was designed for 5 to 12-year-old children, and they are loving it. In fact, I usually get the work out between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, and during the summer there were many building the PPE to work using the playground. So some things that were ironic to this playground that we haven't done in the past is one, we put in the shade structure, which has made the playground usable during the hot months and during the heat of the day. We also fenced the entire playground with 2 gates, which parents have told us works really well because they can now sit on the bench and not worry too much about where their child is or him or her running out into the playground. And then, of course, it was very age-specific. So we, as you remember, we got a $100,000 TRCC grant for part of the playground. That has been reimbursed, and we're completely done with that grant, and that'll be important in one of our projects that I'll talk about in a minute. The other thing with this playground, excited about this playground, is it's used, most of the playground is recycled material, including ocean waste, textile and plastics for the posts, and then even food packaging waste. So this sign is being built right now, and it'll be put up in the playground to let the citizens know that we've done that.
That's awesome. That's great.
The downside to that, and I suspect it'll change as time goes on, is because we use especially the waste from the ocean, the colors, this is the color that it is. So I like the color, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The Murray girls are ecstatic about it. They had a lot of fun.
The Murray City girl, yes.
They did. They played on it all night out against Kramer, our group night or whatever.
Okay.
They were there the whole time.
Yeah, no, it's a great playground. We also had one other playground that was funded in this year's budget, and that is the Valley Center Playground. Valley Center is an interesting park. It's located west of Murray High School off American Avenue. There are no parking. There's 2 trails that go into it. It really serves the neighborhood there, but the playground was old and needed to be replaced. So we've heard from residents all around Valley Park. There was a lot of things with the playground, and we put in swings there. Next one we talk about is the museum. Have you noticed the museum addition?
Yep.
I was hoping you'd say no, but
Okay, no.
So this is the addition. We were really worried about what the addition would look like, whether it would be a full home, and we think it turned out great.
Great compliment.
Yeah, I think it's, the reason, well, the addition included 4 restrooms, all ADA accessible. A Lulu, which is basically an elevator. And then we also went in and painted and put in new flooring at the old ballroom area for our museum exhibits, and it looks horrible right now because we've just moved from City Hall.
Oh, wow.
So the reason that we needed to put in this addition was to bring the mansion up to today's standards as far as ADA and restroom facilities. So what this does is it'll allow us to put exhibits and use the second floor. So the mansion is 4 floors. But we'll be able to use the second floor for the community. They'll have full access to the second floor. Upper floors we could use for offices, and then the employees would have to come down to the second floor to meet with the general public. So we also Lori Edmonds took the funding that we had for the theater and leveraged that, applied for TRCC money. And we received a little over $800,000. So we're in the process right now of designing and getting ready to renovate the rest of the building. What does that mean? So the stairs will all be new. The railing, of course, would be new. The block. So originally, John Cahoon owned the mansion. He's rebuilt it in. They started in 1889 and finished in 1898, finished in 1903. He owned what is currently Interstate Brick. So if you look at the brick, it's in great condition, probably because he had access to the best. And it's 2 layers thick. Behind this brick is block. And it's easy to look at the brick. The addition was done in 1984, and the brick on the addition is in not much better shape than what was done in 1900. So, but we'll also go in and regrout and clean up the brick. And I'm telling you all this so maybe you'll understand. We've got $800,000 from, a little over $800,000 from TRCC, and then some money left from the city's budget. We're a little over $1 million in the project. We're hopeful, we believe that'll be enough, but we want to do it because it's a pretty cool building.
Yeah, don't they have to sandblast it and then?
Not, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the foundation. There's some work on the foundation. It needs to be done. Some stairs. The railing, of course, will be done here. The concrete. Some more stairs with the railing. And I show this picture because the railing above the patio area, believe it or not, that's the original railing. We have been working with our building people. We believe we're going to be able to restore that railing and leave it in place, but we'll need to, the railing coming up down the stairs has been changed and not original, so we'll need to bring that up to today's standards.
So it's gonna be ready for the mayor to move in?
Yeah.
If the mayor wants to move in, we can make that work.
Maybe you.
Yeah, by myself.
Throw in the way.
So,
Yeah.
you know, so this, if you have a home, which I think most of you do, and you have a breaker box, this is the breaker box in that home.
No.
It's called knob and tube.
Do you guys still have knob and tube?
It is still in use in that building. Which is cool, but also very scary.
Very dangerous.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't see it, but the little wires, there's 6 of them, the little wires there, that's the fuse. And the previous owner had things like paper clips in between the fuse. And so that's a big part of the renovation, is to bring the electrical up to today's standards. And we will leave this open for an exhibit because it is pretty cool. They quit using the knob and tube in about 1935-ish. So
It doesn't sustain anything that we use now.
no. The heating, you can see the radiators. The heating is an old boiler system. I wish I would have taken a picture, but I didn't get one. There's a boiler in the basement that is ran off natural gas. It's actually fire burning. And the first time you see it, most people are nervous and want to leave the building. But there is no air conditioner, so we'll bring the HVAC up to today's standards as best we can.
Are you gonna remove the radiator?
No.
You're gonna keep it there?
No. Our hope is to be able to put in a new forced air system and still continue to use this system so that people can touch it and see how it used to work.
That's how we warmed our minutes.
Interesting.
And this room was, this is where they used to prepare meals. It's not a kitchen, but they would prepare, lard room is what they call it.
The lard room?
Lard room. And so we'll renovate the rooms like this to show what a lard room used to look like. And you can see back in the back the plumbing. There's some plumbing that needs to be updated as well, upgraded as well. Sorry. Any questions on? So the one thing I have learned with the mansion and now the theater is it costs a lot of money to restore old buildings. But I applaud the city council and mayors and those before you because I think we're doing the right buildings. And the council looking at that. Those, yeah, are real to a certain extent.
Yeah.
You know, those were the ones we should have done. So, Murray Theater. So the sign that is in this picture is down. I know there was some citizen comments on social media, different things about why the sign down. Well, we're building a new sign that will look just like the one that was there in 1938. A lot of people thought that was the original sign, but it wasn't. You know that we purchased the market to the east of the theater, and we are very lucky we did for many reasons. The project is very tight. There's one of the doors that you can get in, the other one's off of State Street. We're using the market now for staging and different things. With the market? Good question. When the theater's up and done, we'll tear the market down and build a parking lot. It's not gonna be a lot, 25 to 30 stalls. But it's 25 to 30 stalls.
Right, which we don't have currently.
Yeah. So we've obviously had many unknowns with the theater. One of them was we knew that there was groundwater. We just didn't realize how much groundwater was. So this tube here goes down 10 feet. There's a couple of different pumps in there that pump water through this filtration system and then into the gutter.
How much is it pumping?
Yeah, we figure it's pumping about a gallon a minute. And the engineers are putting together a dewatering system because of how much water is underneath there. We need to put in a permanent dewatering system so that we don't have water coming.
Is it because of the old plumbing and all of that?
It's the water table.
Yeah. We have more water here than we do some places next to the creek in Murray Park. So this shows it again. Another issue that we ran into was two sections of the wall on the north and south side of the wall. You can see the dirt is filtering through the block. It shouldn't be the case. We're not sure why this is, whether they put the block in and then cut some of the surface off, or whether somewhere down the road that they cut some of the surface in. But there was two areas where we had to pull the block off and blocks. So this is a picture showing that down. There's a picture of the block down. Next to it, you might say, well, that doesn't look good either, but the whole wall will be shotcreted. And the problem with shotcreting around the area that we redid was the shotcrete wouldn't adhere to that part of the wall. So, and that is the outside of the new wall. We felt very good at what the engineer came up with as far as replacing the wall. It was, for a few weeks there, we were very nervous about how much of the cost and what the impact would be. So. This shows you digging the basement. There will be some restrooms and a green room and then a lift down below the stage. You can see that all of the dirt goes out that little hole that I showed you a minute ago. And then we have Murray, oh, sorry, any questions with the theater?
Yeah, from a budget perspective, where we started and where we are at today,
Great
what is
question.
the difference in cost?
We started at about, I should have had the exact numbers, but I'm within 100,000. We started at about 7.9 million. We're up around 8.2 million right now.
Okay.
We're okay. You budgeted 10 million, so we're still okay.
Originally, we thought it was gonna be 3 million, do you remember that?
Then 5.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Then the recession.
Would be if we bid it right now.
It was actually-
So
I'm just ecstatic.
our contractor keeps telling me, I'm not a real patient person, so I'd like to see it done. He keeps telling me as soon as we get the concrete in, it'll take off. Just to figure out before they can pour concrete, because it'll be under.
It's so crazy that we built that. there
Well, yeah,
over
it's, the water was, yeah.
And I was, when we went over, I asked Jeff, I said, how did this building not fall during the earthquake? And he said, I have no clue.
So I asked that question to to the engineers and our architect, and this is exactly what they told me, because it was built wishy-washy. And I said, what does that mean? And they go, oh, the building's actually been just moving. And that's why we have some of the cracking we have, but because of the way that it was built so poorly, that's why it stood up. Just moved,
But
which,
that's what they,
Good, it's coming.
but
yeah,
that's what they did with the tabernacle, right? They went in and put in beams so that it can continuously move, so it doesn't collapse.
So you expect the remaining 2 million in the budget to cover what is left?
right now we see no reason not to believe it.
Every time Kim calls me,
Mayor won't even take my.
I can't take your calls because you're gonna tell me it's more for the theater or something. So luckily, he's been going, he thought this was gonna be close to $500,000, it was like 35,000.
All the walls,
So my next question is, will it be earthquake? Like, will
Yes.
it have the beams and, okay.
Okay, anything else? So this is a simple project. This is basically the footings that were poured a few weeks ago for the Murray Park maintenance building that'll house the equipment that's. This is the old playground at Riverview Park. And we have, so what we've done,
Get out of here. Is that what they're gonna get?
that's the plan for the new playground.
See, closer. Oh, that's. Thanks.
So here's where Riverview Park is. We have applied for a TRCC grant. You might remember when during budget time, we said we would apply for a grant for Riverview and a grant for Woodstock. TRCC changed the rules on us. You can only have 3 grants out at one time. We have a grant for the theater, we have a grant for the mansion, and we have a grant for the first playground I showed you. So we were lucky, we fast-tracked the first playground and got it reimbursed before their deadline for TRC application. So we've applied for a $400,000 grant to help with Riverview Park.
And what do we expect this to cost?
We're expecting about $800,000.
And this was one of the new parks, or one of the
Yeah.
the one that we had to bring up to our standards, and so we're putting all this. So they have a reason to give us.
Well, it's not surprising that the county staff has given us a thumbs up.
Right.
So there's I think it was $5.7 million in applications for TRCC. They haven't given the exact number, but they're saying there's about 3 million available. It's 5.7 million. We are hopeful we will get the grant. If we get that, what it'll do is we'll put in lights. Well, we'll take the tennis courts and convert them to pickleball courts, put in lights on the pickleball courts, right now we're hoping we can put in solar lights on the perimeter of the park. We found some solar lights that seem to work well in settings. They're bright for the first 2 or 3 or 4 hours of the night, and then they dim, and then about 2 a.m., 3 a.m. they go out. But the poles are such that as lights develop, we can change the lights out. So this will be a good part to test. And then the pavilion will be left, but there will be a new roof, sidewalks will be repaired. So what that meant was we were not able to apply for a grant for Woodstock. So the thought is next year, we'll do the things that have to be done in Woodstock this year, and then next year we'll apply for a TRCC grant or just look at other things that with Woodstock Park. Of the 2 parks, this was the one in the worst repair. So,
What are the poles for that are on the brownish and the dark blue?
those are spinners.
Oh,
So if you haven't done that at Murray Park, Pam, I would suggest you try it.
okay. We'll do it during the power.
I've done it once, and it's never good.
They're really fun. Put Grace and Al on it.
There you go. Oh, that looks so great.
So let me tell you the color that we chose for here. We had a resident come to us when we received these parks that lives next to the park. And she was not happy that we were even going to do anything with their little park. She liked the playground. She liked the wood chips. We met her down at the park, talked to her about reasons for pouring in place over wood chips. She quickly understood that. But then she suggested that we stay with the same color tones because that was what they were used to, and the neighbors liked looking out and not having a bright green or blue on their playground. So we followed her suggestions or the neighbor's suggestions, and that's why we came up with the colors that we came up with there.
I won't get as hot either. It's
Probably not, that's true.
Yeah.
And you have a little bit of green space.
Yeah.
Or will
Is
that
that
be
turf?
AstroTurf?
No, that's actually poured in place, it's just a different color. The poured in place rubber surfacing.
Would be great.
Oh,
It's cool. Looks great.
So Creekside Cottage, that is the armory, that's the new name of the armory, Creekside Cottage.
oh,
That is out right now for bids for contractors to build on Creekside Cottage. We opened the bids a week from today. We are anticipating, you budgeted $5 million for that project. We're anticipating that that's about where it'll be. It's gone through the building permit process. We're waiting to select the contractor, and then it'll be ready to get a building permit and be able to start on that. Probably October, and then I think they'll be able to work through the winter on that.
will it be the same thing that you showed us the designs where it could be big and then, or you can divide it kitchen.
Yep,
The same.
the garage doors will have sliding glass doors that you can open
And which
during
look out
summer
into the
months.
park.
Yeah. It'll be nice.
Such a nice venue.
Yeah, it'll be beautiful.
Yes.
You guys
So you wanna make sure
you
the
need
lighting room are.
suggestion of,
On the kitchen? So the direction the kitchen was, and maybe we will need some direction from, that's catering rather than full-fledged kitchen.
because there's differences whenever we go into spaces for our business, we're limited in the table surfaces. And table surfaces are important when you are catering, because if you're catering, you're doing handheld catering, yeah, we will be, yes.
I'm happy to show you
Yeah.
the plans.
Yeah, because that is always something that, and you can capitalize on that as well. That we have a struggle with in venues, when we go to venues. So, yeah.
We'll show you the plan.
Yeah, I would love to. I know.
So the last thing that I wanted to talked about, and may take a little bit longer, is the Murray Park study. So as you may remember, during budget time, we talked about doing a feasibility study or a study on Murray Park. Specifically the pool area, the old ice rink area, that playground, and Ken Price and parking. So we hired MGA Design Studio to put together that study. We met with them one time, and we really need to give them, they'll put together 2 or 3 different options and then cut them out as well. But it would be nice to be able to give them direction from, and I talked with the mayor today, and he gave me the permission to ask you for your ideas. We know you can't vote on it today, but your ideas. So let me just tell you what we're thinking. So you have the outdoor pool, and we talked about the water table at the outdoor pool during budget. We had water design come in, and they told us the water table is not a problem. That's just normal. Don't worry about the location of the outdoor pool. So that area could or couldn't be used to maintain the outdoor pool. We talked about splash pads. So the question for this group is, do you see a splash pad being part of the pool in that people pay to get into the pool and the splash pad area? Do you see it being on its own? And there's pros and cons. If it's part of the pool, we can use the same filtration system and staffing, and it costs a lot less, especially in long-term maintenance. So with the pool currently is not leaking water.
Wait till winter.
Our plan was to drain the pool and re-caulk the joints. We're not going to do that because it's not leaking. That doesn't mean that it's not going to leak in 5 months, but right now we feel pretty good about the pool. If it stopped leaking, who knows how many years we'll be able to hang on to the pool. So pool with a splash pad, or two separate things there. The old ice rink area. So the old ice rink area, there's been talk about an ice ribbon or an ice rink. Talk about a splash pad there. Both of those are costly up front and then costly to maintain, but they're great for citizens and residents. Or a destination playground. Destination playground would be a large playground that attracts people from distances to come and play on it. Or maybe something else at the old ice rink. And then of course Ken Price Ballpark. What do we do at Ken Price Ballpark? Do we put the ballpark back in? I think that probably is one option. However, if we do that, the school district uses the field about 70% of the time. It seems like they should be ponying up if we're going to build a ballpark. Or do you,
and the pool.
or do you take the outdoor pool and put it over where Ken Price is, and then you don't lose a year of the outdoor pool being closed down? Or is there other ideas? So that's a lot to digest or talk about, but we'd love to hear your direction and thoughts on it.
Where does the water come from for the splash pad? How does that work?
So there's different ways you can do that. One is the least likely way is to just use culinary water. That's not a good option.
And how many gallons?
Yes, a lot.
And that's currently what they do up at Mountain View Park in Cottonwood Heights.
Is that right?
Correct.
That's
The other option is to run the water through a filtration system, chlorinate it, and then into the splash pad. That's what most of them do. The third option is to run culinary water through the splash pad and then put it in a large holding tank and pump it out that night and irrigate the lawn with it.
So water the park with
Water
the
the
water
park with
from
the
the
water.
splash pad, so we wouldn't be using additional water. In
Which
that
is
case.
not a bad way to go, especially with Murray Park. It would cost us more up front, but
like how much?
Do we use, go ahead.
And how long would we be able to use the splash pad? As opposed if we had, a wonderful jungle gym or whatever they're Paul, we could use that for year round pretty much, and then the splash pad. we
Not
could
during the
use-
winter
Good
months.
point. Good point. Yeah, you would,
I mean,
the splash,
That's
well,
fine.
currently, most splash pads open Memorial Day and close on Labor Day. Whereas you're right, a playground, you're using certainly during the spring and fall months more and even sometimes during the winter. And the maintenance on the playground is a lot. And the upfront cost is a lot.
So no, there is that playground right next to the current.
Yes, which
It's a
is,
pretty significant playground.
it's a big playground, yeah. And that playground would be earmarked to be changed, so. We do it, but
All I know is that I have heard from residents, I've been knocking doors, that they are highly interested in this, having a splash pad in Murray City Park. It has been across the board. I've not heard one negative thing come out of anyone's mouth. And they love the idea of it holding water and then that water being used to water the park, because what a perfect way to, one, not have to have to add the chlorine to the water. It just goes through and gets used. So I have only heard positive things come out, and people are surprised we don't have
And
one
I have two in
at
my
this
district,
point.
splash pads are popular.
very much so.
And I haven't heard a thing, but I still think it's wasteful. I think it's wasteful to only be able to use it for a short time, you know, compared to the cost. And also, you're gonna still waste a lot of water, even though, you
Yeah.
know,
Well, my
Yeah, you have
question,
evaporation and
so I have a
So,
question about
that's my concern.
currently, how many times are we watering the park?
so it depends on the time of year, but during the hot summer months, we try and water every other day.
Everyone.
Because the park was built in the 70s, the irrigation systems are not very good quality. The ground underneath it is not great, and you'll see yellow areas in the park. Ideally, we used to water every night until we're trying to conserve. Now we're doing it about every other night,
Yeah.
and it's working.
So, my question to you, and we're using culinary water to water
We're
the
using
park.
culinary water to water.
So, you just said that the splash pad would then, we would have a filtration system and then we would put it back into the park?
So if we went that option, the water would go through the splash pad and then go into a holding tank. It wouldn't have to be filtered.
Okay,
And be sucked out at night with a pump and water from the park.
And it would be called secondary at that point,
It
or
would then become secondary water.
Kind of like the
then-
golf course.
Well, our golf course uses storm water, but they're
Kind
pumping,
of,
you're
yeah.
right, they're
They're
pumping it
pumping
into
it.
their system.
yeah.
I mean, it's all
Yeah.
poopy water.
Sort of. This would be better
And how
quality
many-
water than the golf course.
How many gallons do we already water the park? Like, how many gallons do we use to water the park now?
I would have to
'Cause I'm
find that number,
curious.
but the number would blow you away. We're probably
Well, I'm sure.
talking, we're probably talking 500,000 gallons every couple
Well,
days.
I'm just curious what the difference would be in terms, like, is having a splash pad gonna be less water? And it's gonna be enough to.
Oh, would it be enough to water the park?
Right,
No. But it
That's-
would, but
it would help conserve that.
Yeah, we would look at the areas that are close by.
because if it was more, I think I would fall under,
Yeah,
with
I see what
Diana.
you're saying.
do you know what I mean?
If you have excess
Yeah.
water.
Mhm. If we have
Yeah,
excess
I
water.
don't see you having excess water.
Wonder if we put the splash pad in with the pool, would we still be using a lot of water
So
if
you
it's in
put
the
it-
pool?
If you put it in with the pool, then I would think that we would run it through the pool's filtration system and recycle the water.
Would it be
Filter it.
using a lot more water if it's in the pool area, or?
You can use the same amount.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah,
We just have now gone into the realm of capitalizing and earning money off of a splash pad to pay for that water, but the use of the water is still gonna be the same.
Right, but you would have to pay to go in to use the splash pad.
and that's a question I'd love to hear. Do you want the splash pad to be charged, or do you, if we were to do a splash pad, or is it free?
my opinion would be no. I mean, that would be consistent with the other municipalities. We're trying to incentivize people to stay here in Murray, and I know that there are a lot. And as I'm seeing, again, knocking in these neighborhoods and seeing the turnover that we're having, it's young families moving in with kids at this point, and I think that would be incentive to keep them in Murray, purchasing in Murray, living in Murray, recreating in
Or
Murray.
they could go to the pool and then after getting to
Right.
Paul.
Or if they can't
splash
go to the
pool,
pool that day, they
still
can
have
go to
their-
the splash pad.
I mean, I guess I'm not hearing constituents saying they want a splash pad. And so my biggest concern is the conservation of water and where we're at with the state. Yes, we had a great water year, but what is that gonna look for the future? And is it gonna be cost effective for citizens to have to pay for this? I mean, essentially, we're gonna have to pay for it somehow. And I think I would love for it to be available for free, but I'm okay with saying, we have other cities that are doing it, and we don't have to do it.
How's Millcreek doing it? Cause they have a splash pad, right? With
They
their
have a
ice
small
skating
one.
rink and the roller
Yeah.
skating rink.
Yeah.
It's really, really
Yeah.
small. And I guess that's also the other thing to consider is, do we need a huge spout? Like, do we need a gateway splash pad? I don't think so.
That's what I'm asking. Or does, throw something out that's really different. Do we need would we rather have a splash pad and not a pool? So you like the pool?
We gotta have a pool. Well, that's
And then
Murray.
what about
Nice
nice?
to do the splash pad ice rink combination.
There is a way to do a splash pad. I think it's costly, but there is a way. And
Because then it could be, well, then
and
it could be
and
year
maybe we
round.
should have Brenda weigh in on,
Well, right now, we're just looking at options and getting assessments, right?
Yeah. It's hard to ask citizens, hey, let's bring your taxes to continue the service if it's not gonna be. Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time with this one. I love the idea of a splash pad. But I also love the idea of it being like tiny.
small splash.
Not no, that tiny's fine. It's too
Put
small.
words in your mouth, but
Well-
if you have a small splash pad and then it's surrounded or also has a playground around it. So the splash pad's used during the summer and then your playground's open during the other months.
Yeah, I don't know. This one's a hard one for me because, like I said, I haven't been hearing it from constituents. And maybe now I will, which would be great, but.
What about a dog park?
I've heard that as well.
I don't have a
I've
dog,
heard that more
I
than
have
I've
heard
heard.
dog park.
But a dog
I've
park?
never heard splash.
Yeah,
I've heard dog parks, but I haven't heard a lot of people say dog parks in Murray Park. And if you look at our master plan a few years ago, dog parks was one ways down the list. Not that a dog park wouldn't be great, I just don't know.
And
Well, the softball field's is one that we're not looking at.
Well, at this point, we're actually we probably need to move forward at this point. So Kim, I think what we can do is give you, we can have the council all provide you their feelings about this and we can move on from there.
Yeah.
Okay?
That works, and
give us a lot to think about.
But it's gonna be useful.
Time's up.
but you still.
I just want, and I know you all know this, but I just sit and watch what Kim presented today, and I have a hard time understanding when I hear people say it. It's not a law, but you need to restore more things. We've got the
Yeah.
theater,
yeah.
the armory, the Townsend home that we're moving, the mansion. I think they'd be hard pressed to keep saying that because we are doing that.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I just don't get it when I hear, and it's not a lot, but it's just a few where I'm thinking, I don't understand, we are doing a lot.
And the Whitechapel.
Yeah, and we're doing, we haven't, this is the most we've done in
Yes.
this forever.
Yes.
And you're right about that. And I said that as well. And I think we have to remember, I mean, it comes on the backs of our taxpayers, really, is at the end of the day. And I hear, yeah, and I hear the other side is we're investing in the right parts of where we need to invest. Yeah, and not necessarily we need to invest in everything, but we need, I think what has happened, at least in my perspective and what I've been hearing is we haven't communicated what we are willing and not willing to do. And we haven't communicated that, but we're doing a good job of that now. And I will say it's come a long ways, but I think everything you guys are doing is great, and I think even sharing that information that we have today, like, I think it's all helpful. And even bringing, was it Bob? Not Bellinger, but the other guy who taught us how to like seal our windows and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a great workshop. And so we are doing things, definitely.
I applaud the council and mayor and council of mayors before you. We're doing a lot, but it's because of planning that we're able to do this. And I think the citizens are.
Baseball field, really quick. If the school district's using 70% of the softball field, baseball field, whatever you wanna call it, could they invest in that, or are they expecting us to take care of it?
Well, you know, we are definitely,
That's a question we're gonna ask.
we are
Okay.
meeting with them.
Because I know there's a baseball field in my district
Right.
that they use a lot.
Yeah.
And so, why would they need the one here if they're using the one that's near my home?
Well, high school doesn't use the one near your home. That's Babe Ruth, and then we also rent it out.
The one that says Murray on it?
Yeah, if you were to ask the high school people, they
Oh,
would say
I-
campus is a lot better. And it is a lot nicer field.
It's told us that we couldn't play on it when we took the kids out for gym because the school owned,
Over at Willow Pond?
no, Riverview.
Oh, Riverview, those are softball fields.
Well.
Oh, you're right, the girls softball. I'm sorry, Pam. You're way ahead of me, I wasn't following you. Yeah, it's a softball field.
I do.
It's two different sports.
I'm gonna throw this in there, but I know that the world's like what is it? Like Little League World Series doesn't have a location in the state of Utah.
Wife. That was a
Big paper.
It's big.
That's a long way.
And so I'm just saying it's a cost revenue opportunity.
But it's interesting,
Yeah.
baseball at Babe Ruth age, which is 12 years old through 18, the numbers are way down. But our Little League are way down, which is 9 to 12, but the city's Pee Wee League, which starts at 6 or 7, the numbers are way up. So I'm not sure why they play Pee Wee and then.
Because you have dads who are my generation who all played, and now their kids are playing,
Yeah.
which is where we're transitioning.
They get old enough to say, I don't want to play, maybe that's it.
Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, thank you.
I just have one thing to add. I wanted to staff over at the senior center because it's National Senior Center. And so they had a celebration last night and it was amazing. They did one, yeah,
It's well attended.
we went to, yeah, there was 130 or 160 between, I
They
can't
were great
remember.
events.
And it was so well done, and that staff worked their hands off. They just did a great
They do a
job.
great job.
I mean, and everything ran wonderfully, so you're
Thank you.
complimented
Yeah.
and
And
they're
I won't say too much, but next week you're gonna hear from a consultant about doing a senior center library. And that's probably what the mayor's talking about. All of this costs.
And Brenda says, it's just money, hey,
Bear with me.
And Brenda's still in her chair right now, right?
Find it, Brenda.
Anyway, I just
Thank you.
wanted to let you know, they
Thank
did it, so.
All right, we're gonna move forward to the number 2, discussion on the resolution approving and authorizing the execution of an interlocal cooperation agreement with various cities relating to the conduct of the Community Development Block Grant Program, Emergency Solutions Grant Program, and the Home Investment Partnership Program. And Jim, let's present.
Remember, we've been through this before, like this last meeting.
Yeah.
Exactly. Since that meeting, Harriman was one of those cities that got a letter saying that they're entitled in the city if they wanted to. And they decided to pull out of this particular agreement. And so that's the basis for the amendment of the agreement. One of the parties, there was also some language that was proposed by the HUD attorney that allows us just to renew automatically. But basically, that's what happened. So in your packet, you will have read that 4 cities received this letter. One of those was Murray. And we've seen the options, and then we still believe that it's best to stay with the county and defer the entitlement status.
Can you explain that to me a little bit?
Or
The number 4 on this was deferring status
Mhm.
and continue to participate as part of the urban county.
So that's what we're suggesting we do. What that means is, we're not going to accept the entitlement status from HUD.
Oh, okay.
We're just gonna defer that,
Okay.
and as long as we keep that population above 50, we can always go back later,
Yep,
years later.
okay, that's right, all right.
Yeah, that's what that means.
Okay, got it.
And part of that is, the county also needs cities to be able to qualify as an urban county.
Okay.
And this late in the day, and the amount of work that would require for a city to go on its own, it's formidable.
And it looks like a good group of cities,
Mhm.
towns,
Yeah, well,
Magnas.
Thank you. This will be coming up. If you just want to mention it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to number 3, discussion on an ordinance for the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. Brenda Moore presenting.
I just have a quick little presentation on this. This is my amendment number 1, and if you read the letter, it's huge. What that is, and why that is because the state of Utah only allows us to do budgets 1 year. So we're in the middle of the construction season on June 30th. The projects that you approved in the 2023 budget, some of them had to wait until spring, they're now being done. And so what we do is we just roll forward all of the funds they haven't spent, and then they spend it again. So what happens at the end of every year? So let's just go really quick. This budget amendment has a few grants. It has the reconciled changes in benefit budgets due to health insurance changes made during open enrollment. Because we do the budget in March, we have open enrollment in May. The budget has, especially in small departments, if somebody goes from family to single or single to family, that can be a $16,000 change. And some of the smaller budgets just can't handle that and not hold the budget. We're rolling forward some restricted funds. All the projects in progress, and then a few new items that I put in there. And this is kind of a sample of how it works. The theater project that we just talked about, the fiscal 23 budget, we put in $5.2 million. We had been saving since 2019 when we had first authorized this, and then the county pulled their money during COVID. We had saved $1.5 million. We got a $350,000 state grant, the TRCC funding, and then we had spent 2.3. So we had $8.3 million. 5.1 of that returned to the CIP fund reserves. It went back into savings. It's not allocated anymore. That's what it means when you're reserves. It's not allocated to be spent somewhere. The TRCC grant left to receive because we asked for some of the money back that we had spent in 2020 was 3.2. So on this, in 2024, I knew we would be constructing, so I put $2 million in the budget so he could continue to construct. And then my amendment has the TRCC revenue and expense back in it so that we can spend it and ask for, and then the 3.1 from reserves. And I'm doing that with all of the CIP fund stuff. With the enterprise funds, a lot of their stuff does roll back, and sometimes they don't ask for it back. They have projects that they're working on, and then they'll ask for that. And then sometimes they didn't spend it all, so they'll just let it go roll into reserve, sit, and wait for the next.
But this also allows us to apply for that TRCC funding for the following year, is that correct?
Well, what this
if we use
means
this
is
first.
that the TRCC funding that I have in here for that playground, we have already asked for reimbursement, and it
Okay.
is already gone so that we can do the next one.
They, as soon as that playground was done and we had done our match, they got reimbursed. I have received that check actually. For the amphitheater seating, this is an example of, once I give people money for projects, or once you give people money for projects, if they're going to come in less than budget, we don't pull it back. We say, great, now what can you use that for?
Right, and that's what I'm.
And that's what we're doing with the amphitheater. We authorized 200,000. It got returned to reserves because we ordered them, they didn't show up. 23, they show up. It only was 136,000, and so at the end of 23, returned to reserves was 63,000. And now my amendment is saying we're gonna take that 63,787 and we're gonna upgrade the sound system.
Perfect.
So that's that's kind of the concept of what is happening in the CIP plan.
Also, the 3 million from reserves, could you talk about that?
The 3 million?
Yeah, the 3 million on the theater project.
It's just the balance, right? of
Yeah,
what
it's
was
just the
returned
balance of
from
what was
before.
returned from Route 4. So the theater has the exact same budget now after this
Oh, okay.
as it did before. At 6:30, it had a budget left. Once this thing goes, that's the budget that will be in fiscal 24.
And we talked about that, I just wanted to make sure that it was
Yes.
clear.
They just roll forward. So, does anybody have any questions? We do have a water fund, new one that the capital, UDOT, you can just talk to water. For some reason, they don't like the fact we have pipes going under some of the bridges. They're gonna pay us to bury a pipe. Well, at least that's their plan, but the bids came in. This is 613, the bid to actually just do the pipe part, over $1 million. So, we'll see if they still want it.
They still want.
So I reallocated the TRCC. Anybody have any questions on any of them?
I have one, and
Okay.
I don't know who could answer this, but where it says number 19.
Okay.
Murray Parkway Golf Course, total 45,000, it says number 8, mitigation of potential
That's,
residential.
they're still studying what to do with the, houses that are in the middle of it.
Okay, that's it, that's it,
That's the money
No.
to fix the.
that's it, okay, perfect.
And if you want to know, for the council members, how they decide which overlays and stuff they're gonna do, a couple years ago, we did a survey, and they do it based on not what you guys want, but what that survey says.
Yeah, yeah,
I appreciate it.
as it should, yes, perfect.
And
And number 30, parks. Letter B, Parks Armory Project Professional Service, 305.
we gave them $500,000, and they have 305 left. I think some of that might be study money,
Oh, perfect, okay, I'm
but
good,
professional services do the art.
okay.
And then, I do have new money, and I have to say this, the streets equipment, I'm giving them $104,000 more from the, I under budgeted transportation, it has to be used for street stuff. And their, do-all truck, or does-all, or something, I don't know what it actually does, but they call it does-all.
You don't need anything else?
It's actually gonna come in around 300, and I've got 245 in there. They're ordering it, but it's not gonna be here. But, that transportation tax, Trey said that he's doing okay on the roads right now, so we're gonna use it. Usually we don't use it. And the other two new items, coming from the reserves in the water fund, we had some people switch jobs, and so I need to appropriate some more money for salaries, because the new person, she was from the city, and our, promotion policy is if you get a new job, you get a 5% raise, and then whatever step that is. Well, that happened to be more than the step of the person who left that job. So, and that's fine, I mean, that's just how it works.
Yep.
And then, we've got the ComDev adjustment, because we did have to pay a severance package for the former director and the new director. Former director was lower in the step than the new director is.
Yeah.
That's And one more thing, we're having a municipal building authority meeting to move forward the rest of the budget for this building.
We still have 26% in reserves.
And at the end of the year, in fact, I haven't sent the email out because I wanna make sure that they don't find any errors in my calculations, but I did send more money to, the CIP fund from the general fund than you had budgeted originally. And I will let you know what that number is and adjusted the budget. I think I adjusted it at least $3 million. Yeah,
Wonderful.
not enough for a
I
splash
appreciate
pad,
this. This
but- I know,
is very, I mean,
it works the same way for police cars.
yeah,
Notice I just have a great big giant number, I didn't spend it, they're now gonna spend it on.
no, this is great, Brenda, because sometimes like numbers are just wishy-washy, but this is a great example.
Thank you, Brenda. Moving forward then to number 4, discussion on an ordinance amending section 17.72.070 of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to parking requirements for beauty and barber shops and business and professional offices. We have Phil Markham next.
Hi, everyone. This is the first time I've presented up here in the committee of the whole here, yeah. So,
Don't be scared.
You should just put him in prime time.
yeah. So this is pretty basic. We have a salon studio up 6200 South, 20th East. They have a really large building with decent parking, but the way that we calculate parking for salon services is 3 spaces for each chair of salon stuff. Salon chair. It does.
Hairdresser.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot.
So yeah, it is a lot. And in your packet, you could see I compared it with the rest of the cities. There was only one other city in the valley, and even outside the valley that I could find, that did 3 spaces per chair. And then after talking to that city, they said that it's not on their front burner, but it's something they want to change as well. So,
So you think 3 chairs is too much?
3 spaces.
Oh, 3 spaces?
Three parking
Spaces
spaces for
That would
one
be
chair.
you,
For 1 chair?
daughter, and your granddaughter.
Yeah, well, I see no problem in that,
Yeah.
but, and I read the material and I'm going, you have 1 under the hood, you got 1 that's getting a perm, and you got 1 that's waiting.
Well, so the one getting a perm would also be 3 spaces. So they're in a different chair.
The walking
But it
station.
could be the one salonist, or whatever you wanna call it,
This is
could
really
have 3 people
fascinating.
there,
They could, but
because that
but
happens
each,
to me,
yeah, but each station
yes.
would have 3 parking spaces. So
Got
one in the chair,
3 times
one in the
Got it.
salon thing.
I was just,
But a question I would have as far as the chairs go is, wouldn't it make sense you would have 2 because you would have the stylist and then the person sitting in the chair?
That's what we discussed, kind of with the planning commission. And again, the reason why we went the direction we went is, it makes it easier to calculate overall.
Okay.
It does, it just,
So you-
everything is pretty much.
Space is much more known than
Yeah.
number of chairs
Yeah,
sitting in the
exactly, and
space.
then that requires, Mark to go out and count them and. So it's pretty basic, planning commission voted for it. They did change, I was originally asking for 1 space for 250 square feet, so 4 per 1,000. And they decided, the planning commission wanted to go forward with 1 space for 200 square feet.
Wow, so it like
five
goes
per-
up to
five per-
500.
Yeah, so, yep,
Any other
any
questions?
question?
no, now that you explained it, yeah, I'm good.
Thank you.
Also, I just wanna say one thing about the park thing. My cousin, my really close cousin, she has, they have 2 children with autism on the spectrum. And when we were in Hawaii for my sister's wedding, they came across a sensory park.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know of any in this valley. So just thought.
Wonderful.
There's
There
one in
is one.
Discovery Gateway Children's
Oh, okay.
Museum.
Yeah,
Well,
in the
one there.
museum, but you have to
Yes.
go in the museum.
Right.
Not a public.
There
museum.
is one, and I can't remember
Okay.
what city, it's a pocket park.
Oh, okay. I just thought I'd throw that out there. Sorry.
It's a good idea.
Number 5, you have conference reports, and so I believe Diane, Rosalba, and Pam all went to the UAM's conference. And
Jennifer.
so we can begin with that. Who wants to lead off?
I will go.
Yes.
So, the report from the UAM's conference in Jackson Hole, Wyoming was August 13th through the 16th. The biggest takeaway for me from this conference was a statement made to the UAM's members. It was, if you think we're going to be 100% carbon free, you can't get there without nuclear. And here are some other things that I learned about advanced nuclear energy. Nuclear energy can play a major role in creating a clean energy economy. Advanced nuclear reactor types have inherent technological trade-offs. Advanced reactors have a wide range of different commercial use cases. Continued support for advanced reactor is critical to the future deployment. Nuclear energy is an important clean energy source to help fully decarbonize global energy production. Firm clean energy, variable clean energy, and clean energy storage. This statement and my rereading of the minutes from the Committee of the Whole on Tuesday, August 1st, 2023, brought it to a full circle for me. From the minutes, Jackie Coombs stated the following: natural gas plants still leave a carbon footprint. From the UAMP CFPP, Senior Vice President, who was here, of Business Development, Rich, he stated the following: the intermittent and unpredictable energy is not reliable, and there are not enough batteries to store wind or solar energy for future use. The Carbon Free Power Project, CFPP, is set up as an independent LLC business wholly owned by UAMPS. This CFPP would deliver 462 megawatts of carbon-free power. He also stated that 20% of the nation's power now comes from nuclear power plants. In conclusion, listening to the report that was given in the Committee of the Whole and going to the UAM's conference, I have a clear understanding of the CFPP, which is the Carbon-Free Power Project.
Okay, do you wanna go next?
Sure.
Okay.
I have a way different perspective.
Which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll first talk about the sessions I went to, which are decarbonization requires innovative solutions. That's probably where Pam got her information from. Also, the Colorado Way to address the climate crisis. And that was really interesting. That was by a woman from the Colorado Energy Office, and Colorado's doing great. Need for resource adequacy. That was from Sarah Edmonds, who is a Western Power Pool. It's from the Western Power Pool. Then integrated resource plan, a roadmap for the future. They had some really interesting and really good sessions. There was also how the world views nuclear, and it's called New Nuclear. That was interesting. There was the one that I found the most interesting was preparing for vehicle electrification.
Yeah.
And what I got from that is that in Utah, the average commuter time is 20.2 minutes. 8%, Utah has 8% electric vehicle, so only 8%. And when it comes to how much it costs, 76 cents goes back to the city for every dollar for an electric vehicle as compared to gas. So that's a really good saving. Anyway, what else did we learn? Oh, long duration energy storage assessment. So I thought it was good. It's always heavy on nuclear because that's what they're pushing. That's their latest. And anyway, it was really quite a good conference, so I'm glad I went.
Thank you. What's all that?
Yeah, I will start off, everything was heavy on nuclear, and all the ways we can fund nuclear, which I thought was really interesting.
Didn't talk much about how much nuclear costs
No, it
and
didn't.
why the city should be bearing the burden.
No, and then you're totally right in that. I'm always interested when I go to these conferences to hear where we are in the scale of nuclear and where UAPS is pushing their support. And right now it is very much, this is how much you should love nuclear. Nuclear is great. And the technology for me, as it has been in the beginning, is not really completed. And everybody's in the race for small nuclear. And if I still feel the same, I don't think we as a municipality should be on the hook to pay for it. So that's probably where they came in with like, this is where the funding can come from. What I did get a lot from was a session called The Challenges of Evolving the Electric Market. And Don Roth Lindell was a presenter from Burbank, and just talking about how they are localizing and local sourcing their power grid with solar and solar panels, and also having the real conversation of battery storage. Yep. And where is that going to go? Because as much as we want to bring in solar and bring in power generation, where are we storing this power? And what the cost burden is of that, and what that also buyback is. And one thing that stuck out to me was the I have it here. We give a road tax for cars who use gas, but we don't have a road tax for cars who are EV cars. And we're having a real big increase of EV cars in the market right now, but we are not taxing them.
We pay a tax on the Tesla.
Road tax. So do you pay a road tax?
Yes.
Okay.
We've started.
Oh, okay, so we are starting.
It's very
Is
expensive.
it a pilot program?
It's,
Which is great.
We don't pay gas.
they assess.
Correct.
It's
So that's good. I mean, they didn't specify whether it's, so that's good to know. So that, I mean, and then even, I think Mike Squires' like presentation was great in the sense that he brought in a panel of different cities of how they are using EVs in their cities and what they are using and how they're using them and how they're charging them and what their charging stations look like. Some, you can power cars at different rates and what that looks like on the grid. I thought what was interesting, I think I put it in here, a car can take up to 40 gigawatts to power.
Yeah, it was like.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It was like 2 to 3 homes,
To power one car.
2 to 3 homes, yes.
So that I thought stuck out to me in the sense that it puts a lot of load onto our municipal grids. And what does that look like in terms of the distribution? Yeah. So your car probably takes up a lot. Yeah, so that's also something to think about as we're transitioning into the EV world. But also capitalizing on local like grants and the infrastructure grant and how that you can capitalize on that. That's the biggest takeaway I got. But again, just reiterating, it was really fascinating that almost everything was like this is how we funded New Scale, or this is how we are doing this, and this is how we're doing that, so.
Well,
I would say-
interesting on that one, we heard that guy from Texas
Yeah,
said, now you know, I'm from Texas, so efficiency means nothing.
right,
I didn't say that, he
But
said
it's
that.
funny because
How we, how to present to people in Texas to do their EV, because he says, I can't go the direction that Oregon or California or Washington does, I have to go total opposite direction. And he was able to do it.
Yeah.
He was very successful. I was a little surprised though.
yeah, so that was Andrew Higgins,
With that.
Scott Greaves, Bill Boyce, and then they also had Johnny Zine from, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, who talked about why they had to implement it because of their population. And a lot of folks there, I mean, an average home in Jackson Hole, Wyoming is $5 million. So, or land, let me rephrase it, the land. And, so they had to put in EV chargers, but they've had a really big success with them. So for me, there's a, capitalizing component to this that we can capitalize, but I think overall, even in that system, EVs need we need to look at EVs charging stations a little bit differently and prepare for them.
Infrastructure.
The infrastructure,
Needs to
yeah.
be developed.
Yeah.
it's interesting, we report on the last one next
But we're gonna do October 3rd.
October 3rd.
Yep.
And it was, I met actually with there was an EV there, so it was
Yeah.
interesting because it is something they're pushing and it's very interesting, but they're very, very expensive. So it's something we have to plan for sure, because it's coming.
Yeah.
Well, I did have one, is there anything else with regards to this, because I had one thing I wanted to circle back to council, their opinion.
Let me say something real quick on this conference. What I thought was the most impressive thing about this conference, I've never experienced it in 12 years, it was real time. Everything that was happening was real time, the board hikes, all those things going up, where it was happening right then.
Yeah.
And I've never experienced that. Usually it's something you're preparing for the future or whatever, but it was real time.
Right.
And so everyone there was going through exactly what we were.
Well, I think, yeah.
Said that, you said
You're walking.
doing this
Kind of make you
together.
feel better after.
Well, I think last year it was like water. I left there, I think, depressed. But I did. I mean, it was very scary to know, like, our grid, our power grid is like, it's volatile. It is very wishy-washy. But the difference is that it can break and what we've learned this year is that it can put us in a situation where we have to come back to our citizens and relook and reevaluate, so.
Jennifer, you had one thing you wanted to add.
I did, they covered the conference amazingly, like they said, there was a big push for nuclear, like all the things. But the one thing that I really liked was, at the very beginning of the concert, they talked about the financial health of public utilities, and they talked about financial management tools you can use for your power department, things such as having financial management policies, how you can keep your rates not low, but like doing smaller increases more often. They talked about the importance of having a reserve for your policies, different rate structures, and just different things you can do to help your residents with their power bill. So I thought that was interesting, but they covered everything.
Yeah.
It was really good.
It was
that
an
one was
excellent
called
concept.
the financial health of public power.
The one thing I did want to ask all of you as I was thinking about and circling back on the stuff we discussed with Parks and Rec is one of the things that we did earlier this year is we had, or it was last year, the survey with Y3, and they did the survey over Y2. Sorry, I met with something 3 at South. But I'm wondering, one of the discussions we had with Y2 was around that they could do, now that they have the pool, they could do another survey. Is it worth spending a couple $1,000s to have a survey done to see what maybe the citizens would want in that area, since it sounds like there's a disparate view on kind of what to do and the pathway forward, and maybe this would be a good chance to get some buy-in and get some perspective.
But they also need to understand the whole thing, like
Don't disagree. I think we would go through it all ahead of time before we would send anything out.
And we have money with them, don't we? Don't we have like a
Well, we have
balance?
so many surveys that we do, where we have.
Yeah.
That contract was just for 1 year and that contract has expired, so we have to negotiate it, everyone.
But they have all the people that they've already contacted and that sort of
They
thing.
do, yeah. they-
Okay, so it's not like we're starting from ground zero. I just wonder, considering this could be a large expense, I think there's some great ideas, sensory parks, large park, other thing, playgrounds, whatever. It may be worth looking at that, and then we get the pulse, and it's not just us up here, you know, because I have a different experience, Diane has it, and so on and so forth, and we get a full collective sample. Are you open to that, Mayor, and running with that? There was a second, if we wanna
Didn't we
stick with.
already do something like that with our master plan in the park,
We did.
We did.
right? We've already done that. I mean, from the last, we just had a master plan right before.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about with regards to how to move forward in the park, do we?
Yeah, we did do that. How many years ago, Kim? 3?
2020 is when it was completed, but I think you're talking about a
Yeah,
specific.
you're talking
Yeah.
about what we just
Well,
talked
I'm
about.
talking about, you know, what is the direction, considering the cost, considering the water use, and all these things.
Yes, I would want a splash pad, or no, I don't.
No, I don't want
I don't want this.
Oh, and I would want it to, the retained water to water the park, or I would rather it be part of the pool and pay to get into it. You know, that sort of thing. I think it's worth getting a pulse. We have these tools. Let's use the tools we have. Is the council supportive of that?
They have the
All the
involved.
I don't know if we'll have all the costs necessarily, because the whole point was to get direction to get costs. But I think there could be some ballpark information given.
Are you really?
Correct, I think exactly.
They'll throw in these things and not, you know. Oh, what they wanted, oh, we didn't ask them if they wanted.
Have any idea how much this money,
Yeah.
they need to have, they're considering.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, perfect. Then you have some direction, Kim, I think, on how to get.
Thank you.
forward. Thank you. With that, we're adjourned until 6:30, in which we will meet over in the chambers for our meeting. Thank you all. last couple of council people take their seats. Good evening and welcome to the Murray City Municipal Council meeting. It is September 12th, 2023. I'm Gary Harekesi, the council chair, as well as the council member for District 5. We have all council members present, and we are calling to order our meeting. With that, we will go to the Pledge of Allegiance, and in honor of it being Public Power Week, I have asked the head of our power department, Mr. Greg Ballon, to lead us in the pledge.
Please stand.
Please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ben. And so, like I said, it is Public Power Week, so I have my power shirt on. So, I wore it. Mayor, you did not wear your Public Power shirt. So, yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point here. So we are going to start with approval of the minutes for the council meeting of August 22nd, 2023. Are there any changes to the minutes?
No, I've already given mine to
Okay.
Jennifer. Thank you.
Pam? I didn't receive any changes from you.
What were they for then? What were they for?
They're a couple weeks ago.
Oh, thank you.
All right. With that, I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the council meeting of August 22nd, 2023.
I will second that motion.
Thank you very much. I have a motion from Councilwoman Cotter and a second from Councilman Rogers. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, would you call the roll?
Sure, Mr. Rogers.
Aye.
Ms. Cotter.
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez. Aye. Ms. Turner.
Aye.
Mr. Harekesi.
Aye. And I realized I didn't say that we have our recorder here, the mayor, and our city attorney as well, and Jennifer Kennedy, our executive director. We will move on to our special recognition. My understanding is that we're just going to reorder just a little bit. So we're going to move first to our special recognition of Garrett Hansen, and we will have Jeff Plus and Mayor Hales presenting.
Garrett and everybody and Mayor Hells. Check. Can you guys hear me okay? So, new setup. All right. Would you like me to start with the story? Oh, yeah. Perfect. So, thanks for letting me be part of this recognition. This is great. It's one of those feel-good stories. Being the fire marshal, it is usually you don't want any fires. We never want fires, but when we do, I get the opportunity to go and investigate origin and cause. So, it's a nice, hot July 31st. And we get a call of a structure fire. I go over there, the incident commander points me to the person that called it in, that's it, and that's Garrett here. So I go over.
Do you mind actually speaking into the mic?
Oh yeah, you bet, I'm sorry, I feel bad because I'm facing you guys and here, is there, check, better,
Mayor, where's that hand mic at? Is that down there?
okay.
In the podium.
In the podium?
Oh,
Mr.
we're gonna
Mike.
make you suffer a little more, Garrett, all eyes are on you. Check, walk, talk. All right, now I can face everybody. All right, so I lost my train of thought, but that's when I meet Garrett. He's the one that called. He actually stayed on scene. So first thing I go, come up to him, I introduce myself, and he just says he was just doing his job. And that's not just doing his job. He actually waited around to tell us what was going on. Delivering packages, here's dogs barking more than just stranger danger, right? Just barking. Here's the smoke detectors, the alarm's going off, sees a puff of smoke, calls 911. Great address, gets our guys there real quick. So, great witness statement, able to narrow it down. And when we talk, I always end my conversations with, do you have any questions of me? And I think the only one he asked was, are the dogs okay? So, the dogs are fine, and actually from him calling 911, he saved a lot of property damage also. So I think it's great, this recognition, and as a part of that, just the community, the service. This is a special recognition coin we give out at the fire department. Want to make sure you get that, so. You're welcome, you're welcome. And this is a prelude to Fire Prevention Week next month, yes. All you, Mayor.
Well, we just want to say thank you again. The second we heard about this, we said, okay, this young man needs to be recognized. And the council was on board with it, so this is from the administration and the council and obviously our fire department. But thank you for who you are, and you did. In our opinion, you're our hero because you saved a lot of property, the dogs, but also a lot of property and you never know if a life would have been in danger also because of that. So thank you from Murray administration and our council for hanging in there and doing what you did. We really appreciate it, so thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you just want to keep your mic with you, Mayor? No? Okay. So with that, we are going to move forward to number 3 on our special recognition to consider a joint resolution of the Mayor and the Municipal Council of Murray City, Utah, declaring September 11th through the 15th of 2023 as Public Power Week. And we'll have Mr. Greg Ballon come back up and present. And Mayor, you better get down there with your mic.
Is it okay if these people want to head out?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you for being here, and feel free to leave. You don't need to stay unless you want to listen to the rest of our meeting.
Yeah, we'll be here for about 3 hours, so you're welcome to stay.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you so much.
So I'll read it and you talk. Okay, whatever you want to say. Okay. So we're gonna, here, you can have that. Don't take my mic. Okay, thank you very much. And I'm just gonna read the resolution. And it reads as this, started out, as Gary said, joint resolution of the mayor and municipal council of Murray City, Utah, declaring September 11th through the 15th, 2023 Public Power Week. Whereas, hey, do you just love all these whereases? I've never seen more whereases in my life until I came to the city. Whereas Murray citizens in 1913 voted and approved the formation of the community's own municipal electric utility, and whereas the citizens of Murray City have owned and operated an independent electric utility, Murray City Power, for 110 years. Now, I remember almost like it was yesterday when we celebrated the 100 years, and it's gone by fast, providing our community with safe, reliable, and reasonably priced electricity. And whereas Murray City Power is one of over 2,000 consumer-owned electric utilities that comprise the American Public Power Association, APPA, an organization that annually promotes Public Power Week. Now therefore, we, the mayor, and Murray City Municipal Council do hereby declare September 11th through the 15th Public Power Week. Be it therefore resolved that we hereby encourage the citizens of Murray City to participate in the Public Power Celebration, which Greg will go more into, that's on Thursday, event on Thursday, the 14th of September, to honor 110 successful years of public power in Murray. And be it therefore resolved that our community acknowledges that the success of Murray City power has been achieved through the combined and cooperative efforts of our employees, citizens, fellow city department, elected officials, and industry partners, including the Utah Associated Municipal Power Systems, UAMPS, the Intermountain Power Agency, IPA, and the American Public Power Association, APPA. And before I say passed and approved, I will now turn this over to the council.
All right, and with that, I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution of the mayor and the municipal council of Murray City, Utah, declaring September 11th through 15th, 2023 as Public Power Week.
Do I have a second?
I will second that motion.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Turner and a second from Councilman Rogers. Is there any discussion on the motion? With that, we'll take the roll, Brooke.
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter? Aye. Ms. Dominguez?
I only have a question for you. Will Marlena be there? Oh, well then I still will vote aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Harekesi?
Aye. Thank you. And now you want to say,
Yeah.
you want to finish it?
I'll just finish real quick. Passed and approved and adopted by the mayor and the Murray City Municipal Council, the 12th date of September 2023. And without further ado, we'll turn it over to Greg Ballon, who is our Power Department Director.
So if you 110 years, like Mayor said, well, it just seems like yesterday we were celebrating 100 years, so 10 years have gone by pretty fast. But locally owned and operated power system, there's there's a few in the state, obviously, but I think Murray I really like our city. I like our power department. I like everything that the city stands for and all the different divisions that we have. But Public Power Week is something that's special and near and dear to us, obviously. So to invite everyone to come out Thursday, well, I think it started possibly today on Facebook. I think we had a few giveaways and trying to get people excited about coming out. But so Thursday night from 4 to 6 at Pavilion 5, come and enjoy food, entertainment. Well, you'll entertain we'll entertain you somehow. There's a demonstration trailer that can show how electricity can be dangerous, but at the same time show that we can be safe with it as well. So we'll have our forestry there, our line crew there, all of our staff. We'll have a good representation of our staff there. So come and enjoy the night with us, and just look forward to having you there. So you're all invited. So please, love to have you. And just we're grateful. We're grateful for our power department and for our city and the leaders. So whoever was able to make this happen 110 years ago, I applaud them. And it was probably scary at the time, forging a way into the future. But anyway, very grateful for them and for you all as well. So thank you.
I love how the mic just gets passed back up. Thank you, Greg, very much, and we're very excited for this week. And can we rename him the VP of Electricity or something like that? I think that could be fun. All right, and with that, we will move on to the first item under our special recognition, an introduction of Miss Murray, Dakota King, and we will have Mayor Hales again with his microphone presenting.
Dakota, I'm going to stay here and let you take over. So we're grateful to have you here. This is Dakota. When were you named Miss Murray? Okay. There you go.
It was the last week in July.
Last week, July. Well,
Yes.
we are excited to have you here and excited to see your presentation. And I know you have a lot of support here. So thanks for being here. And Dakota, we'll let you take it over.
Let's see if this presentation works. It's going to be white for a second. It's done this a few times. All right. Okay, so as he introduced me, I am Dakota King, Miss Murray 2023. And I was born and raised in Murray, Utah, graduated from Murray High School. And being a dancer all my life, I've been trained in ballet, contemporary, modern dance, and I was a 3-year member of Murray Dance Company. I just graduated from the University of Utah, earning my Bachelor's of Fine Arts in ballet, and I am continuing my education there, earning my Master's of Education in Education, Culture, and Society, with a secondary teaching license. So the ultimate goal is to become a high school dance teacher. So my 2 goals as Miss Murray is to first, make Miss Murray known, and second is to share my community service initiative. The first step to making Miss Murray known is helping people understand. There is a common misconception that the Miss Murray organization and the Miss America program overall is just a beauty pageant for women to look pretty, but it is much more than that. It is a professional development program that empowers women to lead and serve in their community, and it is a scholarship opportunity. A scholarship opportunity that is giving me the opportunity to complete my schooling. And step 2 of making Miss Murray visible is attending events. In my 6 weeks of being Miss Murray, I've already done so much. First, I attended Murray Arts in the Park, and volunteered to pass out programs and visit with the people who came to see Susie Gold Musical, and I myself was also able to watch it. And being a lover of the arts, it was so fun to see all of the talent in the show, as well as seeing some of my students that I teach through Murray Community Dance Education. And I got to meet Mayor Brett Hills, and it was great because I got to know him a little bit more, told him about myself and what my goals are as Miss Murray, and also talking about the future events that I will be attending. Next, I attended High Point Coffee's grand opening. There's a High Point Coffee in West Jordan, and they just opened one up in Murray, and it was great to get to know the owners, great, fantastic people, and just network as the grand opening happened. Next were the summer parades. I got to ride in the Midvale parade and the Bluffdale parade with Olivia Shelton and Murray's little miss, Rosie Orton. I love Rosie. She is a great little miss. I supported Murray High School's homecoming football game. I not only got to meet new faces and connect with all of the students, but got to see some familiar faces. Some of my dance students are in the picture below, and above is Murray Dance Company, who are also some of my students I teach ballet to. And I also got to visit with some past teachers that I had at Murray High School, which is always fun. And most recently, this past Saturday, I visited Abington Living Center, and we worked on a mini service project, writing kindness notes to each other. I was able to present to them who I am as Miss Murray, what my community service initiative is, and how that little kindness note project would go. And it was great because my little miss was able to attend, and she was so great and was a great help to me in explaining the kindness project, and I know that the seniors had such a great time. Now, the second goal as Miss Murray is sharing my community service initiative, which is the Kindness Project. Every local title holder has their own community service initiative. It's just a specific way that they serve the community, and mine is through kindness. Specifically, increasing joy through simple acts of kindness. Things like smiling, holding the door open for someone, or giving someone a hug. Another way I do this is through the kindness chain. The kindness chain is an opportunity for students to think of a kindness that they completed that week, write it on a strip of paper, and connect their strip of paper with everyone else's in their classroom. And with each passing week, the students build onto that kindness chain. And it's a very physical representation that kindness holds us together as a community. So I reached out to the principal of Woodstock Elementary School, and she was very excited to be working with me. I got to meet with her, set up a plan, explained the kindness chain to her, and was also able to meet with all of the faculty at Woodstock. There are 26 classes, and I also assigned weeks to each class so I could visit them and talk to them about the kindness chain, and also check on their progress. So last Wednesday, I visited 5 schools at Woodstock. At the top, you'll see this is a 5th grade class that I visited. Below is a special needs class, and also to the right, you'll see another special needs class and then a 2nd and 1st grade class. It was great to not only be able to share who I am as Miss Murray, what the kindness chain is, but also hear the students' perspective on kindness and hear them share their experiences, not only giving kindnesses, but receiving kindnesses. Looking ahead, I have lots of plans. First of all, Murray City Power Celebration is on Thursday. I will be attending that. I will continue my weekly visits to Woodstock Elementary School every Wednesday. And at the end of the month, I will be collecting all of the kindness chains from each class at Woodstock Elementary. I'll connect those chains, and they'll hang amongst the school in Woodstock Elementary as, again, a physical representation that we're held together through kindness. And at the end of the month, I plan on visiting Abington again to share my own experience with movement. And I want to teach the seniors a little dance movement. And then in October, we'll have Haunted Woods, which I've done before as an attendant to Miss Murray in the past, and it's so fun being able to connect with the children. And finally, I'm super excited to attend the Christmas tree lighting, which I hear is going to be pretty great this year. All right, what does it mean to be Miss Murray? So Lisa Lloyd, the former Murray Dance Company director, was an inspiration to me. And she also introduced me to the Miss Murray organization, teaching me about its importance in community service and engagement with the individuals in the community. And she was just a perfect example of dedication, love, and authenticity. And becoming Miss Murray has been such a great way to fulfill a legacy of an amazing woman. And although it took me a few tries to become Miss Murray, the preparation of each year, preparing for the competition, has improved my speaking, my confidence, and my networking skills, and has brought me to this moment. And I'm so grateful. I look forward to attending more events here in Murray City and getting to know all of you more. And I hope that if you ever see me out and about, or if I see you out and about, you come and say hi, and that you'll reach out to me if you have any questions or would like me to attend any events. You can reach me at missmurray2023@gmail.com, or if you have Instagram, you can find me at missmurrayut. And thank you so much for your time and support and allowing me to speak to you today. I look forward to all the events that I have planned this year. We are Murray.
Thank you.
Dakota, thank you very much, and I want to thank you on behalf of the council as well for being here. And I think your initiative around the Kindness Project is couldn't be more timely in our communities and in our world today. So I really appreciate you taking that on, and we could all use a little bit more kindness and spread a little bit more kindness throughout our community. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Let me introduce to you Lindsay Smith, who is the advisor. Let me tell you, Lindsay has always wanted this position. I'm kidding you. Lindsay was baptized by fire at taking over this position in the loss of Lisa, who used to do this at Murray City. And it's been kind of tough because Lisa was a full-time employee and was able to do that. Lindsay is not an employee of the city and has taken upon a lot of financial hardships. And so they're really looking forward to the council. Are you on that to where they present to the council, Miss Murray? They're on, okay, awesome. I just want to give her a special plug because Lindsay has done so much in getting this program going and has worked. She's got all these other jobs and has taken this on. She did Little Mermaid at the Health Center Theater, which was amazing. So she's got a lot of talent and she's willing to do that. And hopefully we're going to be able to, we're working on some funding other places, but also here. But Dakota, you did awesome, and I agree with Gary. What a wonderful thing to have as your platform, kindness. I mean, like Gary said, what a time to have that. We need it all the time, but especially now. So thank you both. We appreciate you.
Hold on. Come back here, my sweet thing. She was one of my students, so I am up here like a beaming mom, grandma, like, oh my gosh, look how gorgeous she is. Thank you. Thank you for all your hard work and being a wonderful student, and congratulations on everything that you have achieved up at the U. Congratulations and thank you.
I have to say, this is a great community to be a part of. So thank you all for your commitment.
Congratulations.
All right. We will move forward then to our citizen comments. So citizen comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Step to the microphone, state your name and city of residence, and then please see Patty to fill out the required form. With that, we are open for citizen comments.
It's been I'd say a couple weeks, but it's been more like a couple months since I've been able to come up here and speak, because it seems like every time I come, meeting's been canceled, or I'm preoccupied when the meeting wasn't with something that I needed to do. My name is Lawrence Horman. Most of you know me already. You know that I advocate for the homeless. That's why I usually don't bother stating an address, because technically
I live where I stand. I know that there's a lot of things that need to be done for the homeless, and there's no one single solution. But I also know that the groundwork, the real work that has to be done, is done on the local level with the cities, which is why I continue to come to city councils and to advocate. I don't know if there's been a decision made what to do with the old city hall, but I would like to encourage that if there hasn't, that it be used for a permanent warming center so that there isn't as much time, effort, and money spent looking for one. It is central to the valley. It is central location where those who need it can come and use it. It is near public transit. It is near a hospital, a medical center. It is near the freeway so that people can come and go as they need to. And this city is a generous community. And I think that even if the old city hall cannot be used, that we might be able to find something here where we're in the center of the valley that can be used as a permanent cooling and warming center. It's something that's vital, that's necessary. Because as much of the homeless problems as we do solve, they're never going to be permanent solutions. There's always going to be somebody, even if it's hopefully fewer and fewer people over the years. There's always going to be somebody who's going to need to make use of something like a heating center, a cooling center, and a warming center. And so this is my request and my continued urging to the city and to the council that we help provide something like this, a physical facility. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Clark, and I live in District 3. During Committee of the Whole meeting, I heard Mayor Hales talk about citizens recognizing how much the city has done to preserve historical buildings. And it's very true that the city doesn't get credit for all that it has done for the theater, the mansion, the armory, the chapel, the Townsend home, and the efforts don't go unnoticed and are very appreciated. I think it's amazing what the city's done with the Parks and Rec Department, with Kim has done, and the Arts Department with Lori, and all of the administration and staff. And for Murray's history so far has been a great effort and really appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks, Clark.
Any other comments? All right, seeing none, we will move ahead then to our consent agenda, and I will read them all first, and then you can discuss them. Does that work, Mayor?
If you read them all, then I'm not going to read them, so you read them.
Okay.
And then we'll ask them to stand and do that.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks, Gary.
So, we are going to consider confirmation of the mayor's reappointment of Jim Harland as hearing officer for a term from May 2023 to May 2026. Consider confirmation of the mayor's reappointment of Scott Finlinson as a hearing officer for a term of May 2023 to May 2026. Consider confirmation of the mayor's appointment of Bruce Chatwin to the History Advisory Board for a term from September 2023 to September 2026. Consider confirmation of the mayor's appointment of Pace Gardner to the Arts Advisory Board for a term from September 2023 to January 2025. Consider confirmation of the mayor's appointment of Roxanne Cowley to the History Advisory Board for a term from September 2023 to August 2026. Consider confirmation of the mayor's appointment of Gil Rodriguez to the Personnel Advisory Board for a term from July 2023 to June 2026. Consider confirmation of the mayor's appointment of Kyle Winther to the Personnel Advisory Board for a term from July 2023 to June 2026. Mayor Hales.
Thanks, Gary. So, thank you for standing. Is there anybody else here that's from Pace? Please stand. Anybody else that's here? I just want to recognize, and thank you, Gary, you did a great job on that. Thank you for really, I've never been in a city or a group of people that are willing to give, they give so much time, they're not paid a penny, and they give so much time for their efforts. And when we had the opportunity to go through the interviews, everyone was excited to participate and be a part of Murray City. In fact, there are people that are, honestly, we have people that have asked if they can serve, and we're trying to move through that, but we have a lot of people that are interested. So thank you so much for being willing to serve our community, and I know you love your community because you've been a part of it for most of your lives. So thank you so much. I just want to give everyone a big hand for all that you do. All right, I'll turn it back.
Thank you. And with that, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I will move to approve the consent agenda. Chair, would you like me to read all the
No.
names?
No, you can just say approve the consent agenda.
I
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Cotter and a second from Councilwoman Turner. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Brooke, would you call the roll?
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Harekesi?
Aye. Wonderful. Congratulations.
And I have one thing to say. I have known Bryce since kindergarten. And I am very, very excited for you to be serving on this board. Congratulations, Bryce, and congratulations to everyone. Thank you.
Wonderful. We're spreading kindness, like Miss Murray said. We can applaud more. Wonderful. We will move forward to our public hearing where we will consider a resolution approving the city's application for a grant from the Edward Byrne Justice Assistant Grant or JAG program. And we have Brian Wright and Kristen Reardon presenting.
Thanks. For many years now, Murray City Police Department has participated in this JAG grant and been able to use this, receive funding for purchasing of equipment for the police department. This year, we've been allocated $33,916. We went to all the divisions and spoke to them and determined what our greatest needs were as far as equipment in the police department. We're looking to purchase bicycle racks, breaching equipment, pepper ball guns and supplies, license plate readers, and ballistic handheld shields. The end goal is to make Murray a safer place and better equip our officers.
All right. This is a public hearing, so with that, we will open it to public comment. Again, to remind people, you will have 3 minutes to speak. Please step to the podium and state your name, your city of residence, and then fill out a form with Patty. The public hearing is now open. All right, seeing no comments, I will close the public hearing and I will turn it over to the council for any questions.
I had a question. I just have one question. So the equipment that we are looking to buy is bicycle racks, breaching equipment, pepper ball guns, and supplies, license plate readers, and ballistic transparent handheld shields. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with the license plate readers, are those going on to the cars, like the vehicles?
These would be stationary. We would move them around, but they would be more stationary.
Okay, so I'm just curious because I know how they can be. I know how other cities use them, and I was just curious where. Okay, all right, thank you.
Anything else from the council? Seeing none, I will take a motion.
I will make a motion to adopt the resolution approving the city's application for a grant for the Edward Byrne Justice Assistant grant, which is called JAG program.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
A motion from Councilwoman Turner and a second from Councilman Rogers. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Brooke, would you call a roll?
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Harekesi?
Aye. Thank you. We will move ahead to our business items, where first we will consider a resolution approving the mayor's appointment of a representative to the Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling District Governing Board. Mayor Hales.
I'm laughing because Jennifer didn't put, I said, don't put my name on that, or I'm over there going like, he's going a representative, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's me. All right, so it's an odd thing when you ask the council for confirmation of your.
You're being appointed for yourself, okay.
I don't know, it's just strange. And since I have all the time in the world, I remember when my wife said, Brett, now you need to realize that you don't need to be on a whole bunch of committees, and the first day, you know, because I'm full-time, so I'm here all the time. My first day, I was downtown at a conference, and this gentleman walked up to me and says, now, you're going to be on our committee. And so I'm thinking of Cindy, and I'm saying, well, you know, I really can't, and da-da-da. And he looked at me and he goes, are you kidding me? You're the mayor. Of course you're going to be on it. And I said, oh, okay. So I just do what they tell me to do. So I had the opportunity, Diane, to go to my first meeting. I didn't get to vote, but I went to my first meeting. No wonder you like it. It's kind of cool. It's Wasatch Recycling, or excuse me, Wasatch Recycling. It is Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling, and what a lot of wonderful people. And I knew a lot of them, so it was kind of fun to reconnect. And of course, Pam Roberts is the director, who is phenomenal. So I'm asking you to consider a resolution approving Brett Hales as the mayor's appointment of a representative to the Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling District Governing Board.
Right.
And if you say no, I'm cool with that.
With that, is there any question from the council?
No, I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's going to be a great opportunity for you to learn what goes on the East Bench of Murray. So I'm really excited for this. And for you. Sorry, Cindy. I know it's not as exciting to keep them away.
Look at her shaking her head back there.
First lady shaking her head.
But it'll be good for you.
Yeah.
A great opportunity.
Well, I've been on the east side for 37 years, so it's going to be an honor to be able to be part of that, so if you say yes.
With that, I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion to consider a resolution approving the mayor's appointment of a representative to the Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling District Governing Board.
Do I have a
Mayor
second?
Hales.
I will second.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Cotter, second from Councilwoman Dominguez. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Brooke, would you call the roll?
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Harekesi?
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
No more board, Cindy.
Uh-huh.
It's awesome. You'll enjoy it. It's a fun group. And you learn a lot.
Oh, I'll tell you, my first day there, I learned things I had no clue. So
I know.
it's
It's
awesome.
pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we will move on to the second business item. Consider a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of an interlocal cooperation agreement with Salt Lake County, Town of Alta, Town of Brighton, Bluffdale City, Copperton Metro Township, Cottonwood Heights City, Draper City, Emigration Canyon Metro Township, Holladay City, Kearns Metro Township, Magna Metro Township, Midvale City Corp, Murray City, City of Millcreek, Riverton City, City of South Salt Lake, and White City Metro Township relating to the conduct of the Community Development Block Grant Program, Emergency Solutions Grant Program, and the Home Investment Partnership Program. And we will have GL presenting on this one.
Well done, by the way. It's really good. So we spoke briefly about this in the committee of the whole, and for all intents and purposes, you have already approved this agreement once. The difference is that after you approved it, Harriman received notice that it had obtained entitlement status, decided to withdraw from the agreement. So they're not in the agreement, but basically everything else stays the same.
Any questions from the council? Seeing none, I will take a motion. Oh boy.
I will make a motion to consider a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of an interlocal cooperation agreement with Salt Lake County, Town of Alta, Town of Brighton, Bluffdale City, Copperton Metro Township, Cottonwood Heights City, Draper City, Emigration Canyon Metro Township, Holladay City, Kearns Metro Township, Magna Metro Township, Midvale City Corporation, Murray City, City of Millcreek, Riverton City, City of South Salt Lake, and White City Metro Township relating to the conduct of the Community Development Block Grant Program, Emergency Solutions Grant Program, and Home Investment Partnership Program.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
I have a motion from Councilman Rogers and a second from Councilwoman Cotter. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Brooke, would you call the roll?
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Harekesi?
Aye. Okay, we will move on to business item number 3, and it's much shorter, so this is good. We will consider an ordinance amending sections 3.14.060 and 3.14.070 of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to impact fee adjustments, and again, GL presenting.
Thank you. This again is just and I won't call it cleanup ordinance, but it's an ordinance to bring us in conformity with state law. We talked about this, I think it was several weeks ago, about impact fees. And what state law says is that determinations like this, after you have an ordinance that's passed, that sets forth the impact fee itself, to make any adjustments, that's really an administrative action. And so to bring that to the administrative side, the recommendation is to put the Finance Administration Director as the person who will make the adjustments and credits if there should be any. I want to just run through real quickly our ordinance and bring out a couple of things that aren't in this amendment, just so you know. You see when you can adjust it and the reasons you can adjust impact fees. And the credit, the basis for the credit is if a developer essentially adds to the system improvement, they should get credit for that. That shouldn't be very difficult. There's also the potential for a developer to get a refund, but refunds are granted only where the development didn't occur, the money that they had paid up front has not been spent or encumbered. Then they can ask for refund. And that refund request goes back to the individual departments where the impact fee came from. And then, of course, there's the challenges that can be made to the impact fees. Those challenges go to the mayor to decide. And if that is not enough, then the developer can go on to district court. So there's several different ways to challenge the impact fee. Ultimately, that appeal to the mayor is really kind of the big one. With these others that we're talking about, have it going from the city council to the administrative side to make these determinations.
How often are the impact fees challenged?
We have had 2 conversations since the park's impact fee has been implemented.
Which is how many?
I don't recall, they haven't been challenged yet, and I don't recall a single challenge otherwise to any other impact fee.
How often do we credit or give discounts or relief?
I'm not aware of us having done that.
And I just wanted to make one more note. One of the things we had added and from the committee of the whole is that any credits or any changes will be reported back to the council. I want to say it was the last amendment to it, within 30 days. So.
Can I also point out just one other thing I forgot to mention? If you look at 13.14.060, I don't know how this happened, but in B, council is stricken, that's correct. At the time the fee is charged is stricken, that is incorrect. That should stay. And then for some reason that ordinance reference was also stricken. No reason to strike those things. This was all about what came above and then the B, taking it from the council and giving it to the finance director.
So before it's finalized and can be signed, those have to be removed? Do we have to come back for a vote or no?
No, what I'd like you to do is in your motion, just mention those changes. Are you seeing what I'm seeing, the strikes?
Yeah.
Strikeouts, those should not be stricken.
So this second and third strike.
Where it goes at the time the fee is charged, and then that reference to the ordinance 2127 should not be stricken.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, with that, I will take a motion. Councilwoman Dominguez, if you want to make it.
I just want to, and I know we talked about this before, and I know we're putting the burden on the finance administration and then the finance director and administration, is, again, why, I know we have it in state code, but this just removes a little bit more away from the side of, the legislative side of the council to weigh in on this decision for the impact fees.
Yeah, that's
If
good.
you can kind of
Sure,
explain
sure.
that a little bit more.
With regard to the separation of powers, passing the ordinance, passing an impact fee is a legislative act. And unless the legislature specifically says the council will do this, it should shift under state law to the administration to actually administer. The mayor's role is to carry out the policy, which is your ordinance,
The enforcement.
and to administer that.
Okay, I just wanted that clarification. Thank you.
And with that, do we have a motion?
Okay, I'm going to try this. I will make a motion to adopt the ordinance amending sections 3.14.060 as amended by GL and 3.14.070 of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to impact fee adjustments. Is that okay? Okay.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Turner and a second from Councilwoman Cotter. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Brooke, would you call the roll?
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez?
Nay.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Harekesi?
Aye. And with that, we are on to our mayor's report and questions. Mayor, anything to report on?
Yeah, a few things. Clark, thank you. That was a nice comment. I think it's just when I sit and look at this council and think how many have been involved, I think most of you are involved with the theater, with the armory, for sure, with the mansion. Was everyone involved with that? I can't remember that. I think it has half of you. And then the Townsend home that we're going to move. So it's been a great opportunity to be able to see this move, because if you guys don't support it, then it doesn't move forward, and I'll always respect that. I'm excited for what's going on, so it's exciting to see this going forward. Just a couple little things on this. Is it this Saturday? Yeah, this Saturday is what we call Get to the River. It's at 8 a.m. at Germania Park. If you want to walk with the mayor, that's at 9 a.m. Come on, you're going to get up, Gary.
You need to
Not going
get
back in the river. That's all right.
You're not gonna
Jennifer's
go back.
not going either.
Jennifer and you should definitely be
Me,
there.
Jennifer, and Rosalba are not going in the river.
I'll go if the mayor goes.
Thank you. We don't go in the river, just walk by the river. Hey, free ice cream sandwiches, so, and then there'll be beautiful chalk art. Kim had told me that it's just quite an event, and we get a lot of participation. I didn't get to see this, and I wish I would have, the puppy swim day. Did anybody get to see that? Kim said it was pretty cool, and honestly, first of all, I said, we had 100, is that right? Yeah, 125 puppies. Can you picture that in our swimming pool? I'm over here going like, and then we're going to swim after that? Kim said, no, we close it down. We close the pool down. It should look at Diane. She's got a look on her face. Anyway, it was really quite an event, 125 puppies that I really wish I'd gone over there, but had something going on. Then remember, this Thursday, as Greg mentioned, is the Public Power Celebration. It's from 4 to 6. Used to do hot dogs, all those that used to come years ago, they showed how they would do the hot dogs and everything, and now they're, with COVID that started out, they've decided to just stick with Jimmy John's. So they'll do Jimmy John's as the the treat or the dinner that evening. Our wildland crew, Joey, will you do me a little favor and just tell a little bit about that? I authorized them to head out of state and participate with others, and they've returned safely. Everyone's protected and everything, but Joey, would just give a little bit of, is that okay? I have to give a little brief update? Okay.
Yeah, Chief Middleman, please.
Yeah, I'd love to. So I really appreciate you guys' support with our wildland efforts, as well as our support from the employees on the wildland efforts. They've actually been out on 2 new IFC deployment, is what it's called, and it's where the Forest Service, they end up getting low staffed, especially this time of year, because they send their folks out on some of the fires that have been in California or Idaho or up in Montana. And so they send their folks wherever they're needed, and then their absentee of wherever they're assigned to is just empty within that. So our folks have been out there, and they call it a prepo on it, but really what they go out there and do is they do base work that those federal firefighters that are out there assigned to these forest areas, and they do some preventative maintenance, some fire suppression, some town support as far as in the locality, and they really have a neat opportunity. I will point out one thing that happened on this past deployment that was kind of something special and near and dear. 5 years ago, Matt Burchett from UFA had passed away on a fire that our folks were out on. We were actually assigned to that same area and the guys were able to go help out that community out there as well as in that forest region. So we really appreciate it. It's something that's a fiscal, positive for us. However, it's more of a firefighter positive in working resources, and they really do truly build up the community response nationwide, because as you guys have seen the forest fires, it's not any one state that can handle these. It's something that's very much regional. I was grateful, we did have a request to go out to Louisiana, and I was grateful that that one got turned down. That's a little ways away for us. But these local ones, I would imagine if you guys will continue to support, and we will gladly have employees that are interested in going out to help. So thank you.
Thanks, Joey. I'm always nervous when Joey gives me this call and says, okay, I'm gonna ask a favor, and just to send these men and women out. They're in harm's way quite often, and yet they're so willing. I've not seen a group of people that our first responders are amazing, and they're always some of the first to jump up and say, let's go support our brothers and sisters. So they're great. So thank you, Joey, for that report. And the last thing, I just want to have a little fun with this one. Tammy wrote, and I was in the conversation, but road construction is wrapping up around the city for today.
Thank you. And before we adjourn, actually having the chief come up was perfect, because yesterday was September 11th, and it's important that we remember it's been now 22 years since those terrorist attacks, and thank you to all the men and women who put their lives on the line for us and who did at that point to save us and protect our nation. So with that, we are very grateful. And if there's nothing else from any of the council members, we are adjourned. Thank you.